Very pleased to be joined here at SB Nation by the one and only, the dashing, the debonair, the internationally famous. He is, let's call him a scratch. It is the one and only Joe Theismann. Mr. Theismann, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
You're welcome, RJ. It's great to be with you.
Scratch, yes or no?
No. The only thing I scratch is my head after I hit a shot. That's usually like, well, why did I pick that club? Why did I hit it there? Now, I am beyond passionate about golf. I am obsessed with it, and I continue to try and improve every day of my life. And like everybody else, it's just something you can't ever perfect. You can go out and play a hole great and then not, or you can play bad and all of a sudden you play one good. You can play a good round and the next time. I mean, there's always something coming up. To me, it's just a great microcosm of society. It just presents so many different challenges and so many different decisions that you have to make. And the other thing that's unique about it, it's unique unto itself because, like in baseball, hockey, basketball, football, tennis, every other game you react. In golf, you hit a shot and you spend the next 3 to 4 minutes as you either walk or drive to your ball, trying to figure out what you did wrong, what you did right, and your head becomes the biggest problem. Whereas in the other sports, you just react. And so that's what makes golf, I think, so unique.
Yeah, there's no defense in golf, so to speak. The first way that golf ever hooked me was when I realized that, to your point, I mean, you've played a million football games in your life. Every single time the field was 100 yards long. In golf, every shot you've ever hit, I don't care how many times you've gone to your home track or whatever it is, it's completely different. And even if you had the same yardage, the shadow you saw was different, the wind was different, the pin was different. You have never ever hit identical shots in your entire life.
Never. You're absolutely right. There's always, the circumstances are always changing that you're dealing with, and you have to adjust accordingly, which really I think makes the game fascinating from a mental standpoint. How do you adjust? I mean, you're going to hit a seven. You've got the same distance. You've got 150 yards. You're going to hit a 7-iron.
Right.
Well, where's the wind? Where's the pin?
Right.
What's the weather like? There's so many factors.
How did I hit my 7 2 holes ago? Like, did I pure it? Was, all that is at factor. All of that is at play. You very clearly love golf, and I was browsing your Twitter history for the word golf. And there's a lot. Just to be very, very clear, I love how active you are on Twitter, by the way. But we're speaking a month ahead of the American Century Championship, and you tweeted this in July, obviously, of 2018. I'm not certain how well you remember this, but you said, in all the years I've played in the American Century Golf Tournament, which is obviously a lot, no one has ever written me a thank you note for an autograph until this week. And you shouted out Nick and Zach Stark. Yep. And you mentioned that they wrote to you and to 34 people. What's that story?
What happened was there were 2 young boys that were, that I did an autograph for. And they found out how to get a hold of me, and they wrote me a thank you note. And as a matter of fact, I've seen those young men since 2018. So it's been 7 years, and I've watched them grow up.
That's awesome.
Now they're fine young men. They're there every year. And it's just appreciate, I don't ever have a problem signing autographs for anybody. I mean, and I don't expect a thank you. Believe me, trust me. But these young men just took the time to let me know how much they appreciated me taking the time that I did. And I just wanted to thank them, on my Twitter account or X, and just let them know how much they're appreciated, because, we're human too. And it's nice to have your work appreciated. It's nice to be able to have people come up and say, you were my hero, which I don't buy the hero bit about athletes. To me, the heroes, truthfully, and I say this in all sincerity, are men and women that put on the uniform, the firemen, the policemen, our military. They're the true heroes in this world. We just happen to be people that God gave a gift to. Ability to run, jump, throw, whatever it might be, sing, whatever it might be. But those men and women that put that uniform on, and I tell people every day, you get a chance to thank somebody in a uniform, let them know how much they're appreciated, because they're the true heroes. And to have somebody say you're my hero, it's appreciated. But the fact of the matter is, I just had a gift to be able to do things. I wish my gift would carry over a little more into my golf game, to be honest with you, though.
Yeah, not golf isn't super kind to quarterbacks, but that's incredibly humble.
Not super kind to anybody, RJ.
That's
Are
true.
you kidding me?
That's true. Incredibly humble disposition you have, Mr. Theismann. One that most people should, all people should, should make their goal in life. And I have to imagine you've obviously signed 1 million autographs. To your point, it must be a bit different when you're between the ropes, when you're playing in a golf tournament, when you're playing somewhere like the American Century, and you had some tweets about this too. Everywhere you look, there are professional athletes or actors or actresses or musicians. And so the whole vibe of the tournament, you've obviously been a staple at it for a long time, has to be very fun and maybe different than other things you've been a part of throughout your life.
Absolutely. It's my 35th year out of the 36 we're doing it. And obviously it'll be telecast July 11th through the 13th on NBC, Peacock, and the Golf Channel. It's 750,000. There's money there. 150,000 first place, 70,000 people showing up. But I just get a kick at being on the range and meeting all the different people and learning about them. Watching Annika hit balls is just, I look forward to it every year. Visiting with Jerry Rice, who maybe I hadn't seen Jerry in a while, or Jerome Bettis, or Timmy, or Alex Rodriguez, or all these different people that I've had a chance to rub elbows with and get to know over time. But we have an element of it which is really cool. It's the American Century Fantasy Golf Contest. It's accfantasygolf.com if you log on. Starting the 23rd of June is when you'll be able to really start to register. What happens is everybody's broken down into 5 different groups based upon your ability to play. You can select one player from each group and you create a team. If you win, like on the 11th, you get 2 tickets to next year's tournament. If you win and you can change the teams. You don't have to stay with the same people.
Yeah, for the whole event, you can adjust it. Somebody's hot, somebody's not. Right.
And so the ultimate winner winds up with a $10,000 check to the charity of their choice and 2 tickets to next year. And it's accfantasygolf.com. The American Century Tournament is special because of the title sponsor, American Century Investments. They give away 40% of their profit. Think of it, 40% of their profits go to the Stower Institute for medical research on disease and cures. They're a very benevolent, incredibly benevolent company. And they, sponsor for 20 plus years here for us. And it's, it's just so special what we do with the charities up in the Lake Tahoe area benefit, as well as the Stower Institute. And for me, it's like going to a library and being able to learn about so many different people. And I love to ask them, what makes them great? Right. I asked Emmett Smith one day. I asked Emmett was there one day, and I said, Emmett, what made you great? Just off the top of your head. I want you to
straight up,
straight up. What made you great? He said, failure is not an option.
Wow.
And I asked Tom this one day. Tom Brady one day. I said, Tom, what makes you great? He said, the right time, the right place, and the right people. So there's all these little things that I love to learn. And my favorite saying is, the day you stop learning is the day you stop living. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's, obviously the golf game is that way, RJ. The golf game is a continually learning process. You never perfect it. That's the thing that I love about it. And my young son caddies for me, so I can blame him for a lot of stuff.
That is so cool.
And blame for a lot of things.
Right. No, the fantasy game that you all have going on is great. I'll definitely be participating, and we'll put links in the description down below and on our article so people can join in themselves. I might take John Smoltz. I'm not certain what group he's in, but he guaranteed to me that he would at some point. He said he would at some point in his life be the oldest winner ever of the event. So he is, laser. I appreciate the kumbaya nature you have, Mr. Theismann. I'm asking Emmett Smith how great he is. John Smoltz doesn't care. He's out for blood. He wants to win this thing.
Marty Fish, same way. Marty won it last year. Steph Curry wwon it the year before. Steph not only won it, but had a hole-in-one the year before.
Right.
Timmy Brown had a hole-in-one last year, won a boat. So it's exciting and it's fun. And, you really get to challenge yourself in an environment that is different than going to the club and just playing with a group. I'll meet you at the club. Let's go and play.
It's the fan element of it, the autographs, the gentlemen who were willing to, now gentlemen willing to write you a letter. I mean, you create stories and memories at this. You talked about your son's on the bag. It's just, and how many people in their life, even professional athletes, even Super Bowl winning athletes, get to play golf in front of thousands and thousands of people in front of beautiful scenery. I mean, it's what makes the event part of the tradition of summer. I have to ask you something, Mr. Theismann, that I've read about and wondered and didn't quite know. And I always swore to myself, if I could speak to you, I would ask you. And it is your, or was your last name ever truly pronounced Theismann? That this is something that I really have to understand. That was it related to the Heisman campaign? And I'll just, set the record straight, please.
I'll tell you the story. Roger Baldessari was our public relations director at the University of Notre Dame. Beginning of my senior year, Roger calls me in his office. I had a really good junior year. Calls me in his office. He says, Joe, how do you pronounce your last name? I said, it's Theismann. He said, no, it's not. It's actually Theismann. I said, no, it's not. It's Theismann. He says, no, your last name is Theismann. I said, give me the phone. Call my dad back home in New Jersey. Get my father on the phone. I said, Dad, I got a question for you. He said, what's that, Joey? I said, Dad, how do you pronounce our last name? Dead silence for like 30 seconds. My dad comes back on. He goes, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'll explain later. Just tell me, how do we pronounce our last name? He said, Theismann. Hung the phone up, turned to Roger. I said, Roger, my last name is Theismann. I know. Just got off the phone with my dad. He said, Joe, I want to tell you something. There's a trophy out there called the Heisman Trophy. It goes to the best college football player in the country. We think you have a chance to win that trophy, but we're not just going to count on your athletic ability nor the reputation of the University of Notre Dame. But we think by just simply changing the pronunciation of your last name from Theismann to Theismann to rhyme with Heisman, we can guarantee you that trophy. So that's how my name was changed. And I called my grandmother. Mm-hmm. She was the matriarch of our family, and my heritage is German and Hungarian. So I called my grandmother, who's German. I said, Granny, they want to change the pronunciation of our last name from Theismann to Theismann. What do you think? She says, well, I tell you this.
That's awesome.
She says that what they want to do is actually more correct than what we have now. So wow. I'm okay with it. So I got my grandmother's blessing, and I wound up becoming Joe Theismann 53 years ago now. The brand was created. Yeah, it was fun. It was Roger's wisdom. It was Roger's thought process that did it. He's an incredible man. Roger's passed now 3 or 4 years, and he's done a lot for a lot of different players at the University of Notre Dame, as he has over our time, which is another thing I'm very proud of, is what the job that Marcus has done at the University of Notre Dame with our football team. And this year, I think he's finally going to have a quarterback there that's been there for more than just a year. Mike Denbrock, our offensive coordinator, has got somebody to work with CJ Carr, and I think we'll be back knocking on the door again.
No, I certainly think so. The national title game, you run into a buzzsaw. Sometimes it just happens, but I don't think the Irish are going anywhere. That is so cool. I think if you were a kid now, somebody would have talked to you as like a 12-year-old. That would have happened way before your senior year. You know what I'm saying? Like there would have been some correction from a brand. You would have been on TikTok as Joe Theismann, not Joe Theismann, as a 12-year-old.
Right? Yeah, I'd be a senior in high school, and somebody'd be offering money to play to go to another school or something. Don't get me started on the NILs and the portals and stuff. I think that we basically have destroyed collegiate athletics and created another branch of professional athletics. That's basically what we've done.
It's a different world in that way. You're completely right. It's changed competitiveness, and that's putting it incredibly mildly. I mean, it's very complicated. You have to understand a lot about a lot of things to be able to follow college football, and instead of just, hey, there's Joe Theismann, he's great. I thought his name was Joe Theismann. It's just we hearken for a simpler time.
RJ, I don't know how as a college coach you recruit anymore. How do you recruit? How do you keep a team together? You've got people transferring all the time. I mean, to me, it's one of the greatest challenges that exists in sports today, is being a collegiate coach. I mean, every college now, major colleges, they're hiring general managers. It's created a whole new profession for people that were general managers or want to be general managers. Now you get to be one at the college level. I just don't want to see these young people taken advantage of. And I will say this one last thing. Young athletes can move from school to school, but that isn't life. That is not life. Once you leave college, you're not going to go from job to job to job. You're going to have to find some sense of stability. And what you put between your ears at the college level is all you're going to have to fall back on. So as you move around, to all you young people, don't ignore the opportunity to get your education, because ultimately that will be the thing that'll determine what's going to happen the rest of your life.
I think that's really well said. That's some great wisdom. And there are some really big pitfalls, obviously, associated with this world. There was the story of the young man at Tennessee, people getting bad advice, these kids getting bad advice, and all of a sudden it just takes one domino down the wrong direction for things to get really out of hand. Mr. Theismann, last football one, and then I will wrap with a golf one. I mentioned to you before we started recording, I covered the Cowboys. I would also, if it isn't too difficult, I don't think many people have heard in modern times the story of you being serenaded "Happy Birthday" at Texas Stadium. I love this, especially.
When was that? 80, 81, 81 maybe? I'm not sure.
I believe so. And that was the Cowboys lost the NFC title. That was the catch season and everything. But I believe it was a Monday Night Football game, if my understanding is correct. And so I'll give you the floor, but that this took place in an era before the internet is astounding to me.
Yeah, I think it was a day game.
Okay.
We usually played the Cowboys at 4:00 in the afternoon Eastern time. I mean, it was always a late game if we were playing them. It was we were getting beat up really bad. I mean, I'd thrown 2 or 3 interceptions. It's my birthday. It's September 9th, and I'm sitting on the bench in Texas Stadium, and all of a sudden, I finally get a touchdown. Joe wanted to take me out. I wouldn't let him take. I said, I'm not leaving the field. I'm not leaving my teammates until I do something positive. We scored. I went to the coach. I said, you want me to sit? I'll sit now. Not that I wanted to, but it was his decision. I sat down and I sat there on that bench. I can still close my eyes and see that stupid stadium with the hole in the middle of it. I still never figured that out. And all of a sudden, the entire crowd starts singing "Happy Birthday" to me. And the first thing I thought of was, I wish this was a grass field so I could crawl under a leaf and hide from these crazy maniac fans. But yeah, that was one of my situations with the Cowboys. Earlier that year, I think I got hit by Ed Too Tall Jones, Randy White, wound up with a cracked collarbone and a couple of ribs. And I'm laying on the ground looking up again at that stupid hole in the stadium. And I'm trying to get my breath. I'm just like going, and Randy comes over and he stands over me and he goes, "Are you all right?" And so I'm going to be Mr. Macho and go, "Yeah, I'm fine." He went, "Good." I went, "Oh, crap. He's going to hit me again." Oh, Jesus. But it was a great rivalry. I mean, I think it's one of the greatest rivalries in professional football. Sports, to be honest with you.
It was the first true, I would offer, rivalry for the Cowboys in the division, maybe even in general. I mean, you could argue the Packers early on, but I mean, it was Dallas and Washington. You mentioned Coach Gibbs, like it was people like you who made it that way. And that something like that, people singing you "Happy Birthday" again, that this could happen. This was purely word of mouth, people passing it in the stadium. It's Joe Theismann's birthday. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy that it could happen that way.
Oh, no, it was a serenade. It's interesting, RJ. Talk about, I had a chance to play for Tom Landry, Bill Walsh, George Allen, Joe Gibbs, all 4 in the Hall of Fame. I played for Tom in a Pro Bowl out in Hawaii and Bill as well. And all you ever saw of Tom Landry was him across the field, that stoic, the hat on, that stoic look on his face. And didn't get to him, but I had the opportunity to spend a week with him in Hawaii. And I'll tell you something, what an incredible human being, what an incredible man. And Bill was the same way, Walsh. These were men that changed the face of football. They really were. They're part of that Mount Rushmore of football, like I believe Coach Gibbs is as well. So and George Allen, these were all people I was fortunate enough to be able to spend time with and learn from.
You all are the reason people like me and people who follow what I do love the game so much. So we are eternally grateful to you, whether it was operating as Joe Theismann or Joe Theismann. That being said, to finish on golf, again, I mentioned I perused your tweets. So obviously we're talking about the American Century, but we're talking in advance of the U.S. Open for anybody who watches this after the fact. And you have a lot of tweets just kind of as an analyst talking about golf. And so I'm curious because you feel passionately that bad shots shouldn't be rewarded, that good shots shouldn't be punished. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of controversy about Oakmont. I don't know if you've seen people calling it Soakmont with all of the water it's gotten in recent days and recent weeks. But just curious for your thoughts on the U.S. Open, how you see the field playing out this week as we get set for the national championship.
Well, I think for the guys on tour, the Memorial was sort of a little bit of a sample of, I think, what they're going to see in the rough. The rough, why make the rough so penal? I don't understand. I mean,
you don't like it.
I don't. No, I think fairways are hard enough to hit as it is. And if you want to make the rough penal, then make the stretch the collar out another 2 or 3 feet so that if the ball lands, it doesn't roll automatically into the rough, and you're going to wind up with hacking out. I'd be surprised if under par doesn't happen in this tournament. I think even if somebody shoots even par over these 4 days, they're probably going to win the tournament. I'd just be surprised. And this is interesting too, is in an era where we continue to try and look for length, right, whether it's in club design, ball design, whatever it might be. This is a tournament where accuracy is number one.
Right.
If you can hit fairways, and greens, you're going to have a chance to be able to win this tournament. If you hit it in the rough, and this is one of the things I was listening to Rory talk about. He changed his driver, wound up +9.
Right.
He was looking for an answer and didn't find it. I think what's going to be critical for Rory, it will be the first tee shot, or maybe the first 3 or 4 holes to find out how well he's driving the golf ball. And Scotty is just, he's phenomenal. I mean, you talk about an incredible athlete, because to me, to be successful in anything in life, it's mental toughness. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to golf, that is it right there. And just his ability to be able to, use shorter irons, to be able to hit the ball close. And if he's like Tiger was, he's like Jordan Spieth. If they putt, they're hard to beat. You can't beat them. If Scotty putts, you can't beat him. Rory's the same way.
That's what Scotty figured out. And to your point, people were very critical of the PGA because of what you talked. Even Rory said it himself. He said, yeah, I mean, I can blast it anywhere. I'm paraphrasing, but I can blast it anywhere and just, sort of effectively hack it out of the rough, that was there, which obviously wasn't akin to what it is at a US Open. So that's why I like it. I like the challenge. I like that, you mentioned the distance, and we could debate that till we're blue in the face, but I like that the best players in the world have to think and have to, operate within some boundaries this week.
Yeah, but I still think there's a way to make the rough manageable.
That's true.
But as opposed to penal, let's put it that way. I mean, if you miss the fairway, you're going to hack out, and then all of a sudden, so if you're going to look at the guys on tour and say, okay, who's got the best short game? That's going to be the person that you're going to look at and say that's the one that's going to have a chance to win, because you're going to be laying up, you're going to be hitting 70, 80, 120-yard shots. Are you going to be able to get it close? Those are the things, because if you're coming out of that rough, I mean, that hurts you.
Oh yeah. I mean, in 4 days straight, it's not for the faint of heart.
No,
and you've got to have something that helps you kind of keep your center. Like you said, Scotty is sort of the poster boy for that at this point. Your prediction for US Open as we get out of here.
I'm going with Scotty Scheffler.
I don't blame you. Yeah. I would take him over the field. It's truly at that point.
I would take him against the field as well. Yeah. Justin Rose is another one. I think there's different individuals out there. Jason actually been playing pretty good golf lately. So, but I think if you look at it, Sam Burns lost in a playoff yesterday in the Canadian Open to Foxy. I mean, Foxy, to me, Fox looks like a hockey player.
Right.
It's just storming down the fairway, I mean, and then you've got a wedge in your hand and you spin it off and you wind up making bogey on a par 5 in the 4th playoff hole. Sam's been playing some good golf also. So I love the game. I love studying the game. I love watching the game. And I think we appreciate people like Tiger Woods. Tiger to me, and Tiger probably won't play again because of the physical issues that he's going through, but he has meant so much to the game of golf, as Jack has. And I've had a chance to be around, Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and Chi-Chi and all the guys that have come before. And like I say, even currently now, being with Annika, on the ladies tour and looking at, what they're able to do out there and the way the girls are playing, the ladies are playing. It's a study in temperament. It's a study in athleticism. It's a study in mental toughness. And it's a wonderful game. I think everybody should take a shot at it and at least give it a try.
I completely agree with you. The Women's U.S. Open at Erin Hills was just such a beautiful tournament to watch unfold. Lastly, you mentioned Tiger. We've now reached the point, and it helps appreciate Tiger, where Scotty will do something stupid, and you'll see some statistic, and it's like Scotty's the first person to do this since Tiger, who did it 12 times,
Right.
or whatever. Like, it's just it is a continual reminder of what a phenomenal player he was. Mr. Theismann, I could talk to you about golf for forever, about football for forever. And if anybody wants to merge those two worlds with you, they can watch the American Century next month and play fantasy alongside of it. Do you recommend they put you in their group? Are you that confident in your game?
You can put me in the group if you're looking for a filler.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I can tell you. But it's sure, why not? Put me in there. You never know what's going to happen out on the golf.
Yeah, it could be your day. I mean,
it could be my day. You're absolutely listen. I'm with you, RJ. 100%. Could be my day. Absolutely.
Just like it could be the Cowboys' year. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I wouldn't go quite that far, but I would say it could be my day.
Well, you know what, Mr. Theismann, I did not know that we would match, but I'm glad that we did this whole thing matching in Cowboys blue.
Yeah, I like that.
It added a nice touch. Please continue to be a good person the way you have been, to spread the good word about life, love, faith, golf, football. Just a little bit less Jen Daniels, talk. You know what I mean? Like, let's just
hey,
chill out a little bit.
I think this is a huge year for Dak, and what are you going to do with Micah? I mean, Jerry's got some decisions to make with.
If
his
they
football.
don't pay him, we will ride.
Yeah, but how do you pay him? I mean, where do you've got to find money. I mean, obviously, quarterbacks are always willing to rework their deals out until they're 1,000 years old, and I'm sure Dak has probably done it already. But it's always going to be a great rivalry. It's always going to be a lot of fun, and I think that we're back. They want to come back. That division is tougher. I think the Giants you got to figure they'll be better. The Eagles will be there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll be better, but you think they might be. So it's going to be an interesting division again.
I agree. Mr. Theismann, officially my second favorite Washington player of all time. My uncle played with Darryl Green at Texas A&I. So just, he's got you beat by just a little bit. So
totally understand. Darryl's one of my favorites too.
Thank you so much for the time, Mr. Theismann, and best of luck. Hit him straight at Lake Tahoe.
Thank you. Thanks, RJ.